Gender stratification is the channeling of men and women into different and usually unequal life situations. This continues to be very much a part of life in Canada as elsewhere in the Western industrialized societies. Men hold more powerful and high-paying jobs than women, who are overrepresented in low-paying positions. We also find gender inequalities in the home where women do more domestic work than men. Canadian women are also more likely than men to be poor at some point in their lives. The struggle for equality between the genders, predominantly taken up by women, has been going on for years and is supported by Canadian law. Nevertheless, we see evidence that the genders are not equal in Canada. Labor force participation rate is defined by the World Bank as the proportion of the population ages 15 and over that is economically active. All people who supply labor for the production of goods and services during a specified period. Canadian women's labor force participation rates are definitely approaching men's labor force participation rates. In that sense, there is gender equality, at least in the labor force participation rate. But there is still gender inequality in a number of areas in Canadian society. Canadian women remain unequal to Canadian men in several areas of work status, full or part-time, gendered occupations, pay, and promotion, among other areas. One of the most time-consuming activities performed in the home is childcare, and Canadian women spend more time than do men, 50.1 hours per week compared to 24.4 hours for men. Women also do more unpaid work than do men in the home and spend more time taking care of seniors. Women's average income is less than men's. The gender wage gap was 26% for full-time workers in Ontario in 2011. That means that women earned, on average, 84 cents for every dollar that men earned. As well, what's been called the glass ceiling impacts the pace with which women experience career progress and has a trickle-down effect on women in non-managerial positions. In Canada, while women make up nearly 50% of the labor force, they occupy only 16% of corporate board seats. Finally, there's still significant differences between men and women in terms of political participation. Certainly between 1916 and 1925, all of the women in Canada were enfranchised, with the exception of Quebec, where they were enfranchised in 1940, and the Northwest Territories, where women were enfranchised in 1951. Less than 100 years ago, women could not vote in Canadian provincial and federal elections, so we have made significant progress there. Most women in the world can now vote, with the exception of a few countries such as Saudi Arabia, and voting is necessarily for the form of government present. Women, though, are still underrepresented in all forms of government in Canada